Hello world. Today at the tailgate coffee table, I have this gorgeous man right here. If you don't know who he is a two-time world champion powerlifter, 6-time national champion powerlifter. His name is Russel Orhii, better known as Russwole. Welcome to the tailgate coffee table.
Appreciate you, man, for having me, man.
Man, I'm so glad you're here. I've known Russ online for years. We've only met one time in person.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when I hit him up, I already knew he wasn't a coffee guy. I'd seen it somewhere on his social media that he doesn't really fuck with coffee.
Yeah.
So I hit him up and I was like, hey, you want to do the show? He's like, yeah, but can we do matcha? And I was like, oh, yeah, perfect. Because I don't really do non-coffee drinks a lot, but I know I have a lot of non-coffee drinking followers. So this is perfect.
Yeah.
So today, Russ and I are going to make a vanilla matcha latte. It's got about 80 calories in it. It really doesn't have much sugar. The calories come from the milk. Have you made matcha before?
I've not at all. No, never.
All right, so we're going into this raw. All right, so we're about to go into this. Russ has no experience. I'm gonna walk him through it and we're gonna make some matcha.
I'm excited, man.
Let's do it.
Yeah, bet.
All right, so first things first, we're gonna make the matcha. So when you're making matcha, you wanna mix the powder with some water before you pour it into your milk for the latte.
Okay.
So first off, we're gonna just add some water. So you can add 3 ounces of water to that cup.
3 ounces, all right. Damn, I just got nervous all of a sudden. I'm like, gotta lock in. Bet.
All right, 3 ounces of water, and we're gonna do 1 teaspoon of matcha. Truthfully, I don't make matcha ever. So this is the matcha I got. I don't know. I don't really have a recommendation, but this was $30, so I assume that it's good. It says ceremonial blend, and I know that there are different types of blends of matcha, so if I'm disrespecting to any of you true matcha enthusiasts, I apologize. But we're making something that you can make at home, you can make it easy, and yeah, we're not gonna overcomplicate it today. So we're gonna do 1 teaspoon of matcha in that water.
What's crazy is that, like, I've been wanting to actually make green tea for a minute. Like, I love green tea. And every time I go to the store or like I post about it, people are like, oh, you need to make your own, you need to make your own. I'm like, I don't even know how to do that. So it's gonna be like 8 scoops, right? About?
Yeah, you could do 8 scoops, or you could just do 3 grams.
Okay, 3 grams, all right.
Do you cook a lot of your own food?
Yeah, now I do. And it's like whenever I'm like studying or editing content, I like love to have matcha because I'll go to coffee shops and do that kind of stuff. But now, you know, I saw this opportunity. I was like, oh, bet he wants to make coffee. I was like, let me ask him if he does anything like matcha related, because that would be clutch. Knock out 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Damn, on the 3.
Yeah.
All right. What I read online about making matcha is that you don't want to use a hand frother. But if you do use a hand frother, then you should use a little less matcha and a little more water, because I guess it can clump up. Whatever, bro. We're not getting scientific with this today. So you just use a hand frother and mix it up until it's nice.
I act like a child whenever I have, oh, there we go. Yeah, I act like a little child every time I have a frother. Oh, shit. Goddamn.
Strong.
This definitely looks like I just punched a bunch of matcha inside the cup.
So that's step number 3. So first was water, second was powder, third was hand froth. Next up, we're gonna get our cup that we're gonna drink the matcha out of. We're gonna get some ice in it first. So if you wanna reach in the cooler, there's some ice in there.
All right, bro.
All right, and then what we're gonna do is, so we're making a vanilla matcha. So we're gonna use some sugar-free vanilla, because matcha by itself is not sweet. So if you fuck with that, you can do that.
Yeah.
But there's a certain type of people I refer to as unsweet green tea, and I never want to be referred to.
Yeah, I don't roll like that. That's crazy.
It's disrespectful. Oh shit. So you can go for like 1 to 2 ounces.
Okay.
How sweet you like your drink. If you liked it like the one we made before, do like an ounce.
Ounce? Okay.
Half.
I'll do 2.
Yeah, that should be fine with that. Cool. And then in the cooler again, we have milk.
Okay.
So we're making a latte. And in making a latte, it consists of milk. Latte just means that's the base is milk, and then it's coffee or matcha or whatever else you're putting on top of it. And you know, we got to go with Fairlife because it's lactose free, has 13 grams of protein per serving as compared to regular milk.
Yeah, this is great because in my adult life, I found out that I have developed an intolerance to lactose, unfortunately. No, literally.
I actually know a lot of people that have that issue.
It's funny because I'll make executive decisions. I'll be like, it's worth it. It's mostly just Ben and Jerry's ice cream though.
All right, that's good. Perfect. All right, from here, this is probably the easiest part. You pour your tea right on top.
Yeah, this part. Let me make sure. Let me make sure you got a good view of this. 'Cause this shit turns me on.
This is what they refer to in the industry as a money shot.
The money shot. Oh yeah. Jeez. Which industry are we talking?
That's interpretation. Go to the front a little bit. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. There we go. Wild ad libs for Matcha, but
Making ASMR content. Yeah. Yo, turn your volume down.
that's a sexy picture. I know we're gonna mix it up, but that is sexy right there, man.
All right, and then normally we'd have a straw, but I came unprepared with no straws today. So just take whatever you want. Yo, use your finger if you want to. Stick it in, give it a little.
You are a wild man, bro. What is going on? Do you actually put your finger in there?
No, I'm just.
Okay, I was like, you a freaky dude, man. Freaky with the coffee.
You just mix it up. Mix it. Hey, mix it however you want to mix it.
Okay, there we go.
So we got our matcha. Russ made this for me, so this will be the true test if he fucked this up or not. But he's gonna try it, taste test it. I'm gonna get you to rate it out of 10.
Okay.
And yeah, so let's try it out.
I gave this 8 out of 10.
This is solid.
Good?
I don't really like matcha like that.
It's good, man.
Good, though.
You should try out like the ones that are like matcha latte mixes and all that kind of stuff. To me, I just like that earthy type of taste to add in this.
It has a nice texture. Yeah, it's like refreshing, you know? All right, so we got our matcha. Gave it an 8 out of 10. Bro, I'm stoked to have you here. Oh, yeah, stoked to get to chat with you a little bit. Let's jump into it.
For sure.
Welcome to the Tailgate Coffee Table. Today, I'm here with a great human being. He is a strong motherfucker. He's a 6-time national champion powerlifter in the 83 kilo weight class. He's a 2-time world champion powerlifter in the 83 kilo weight class. He set many records, and man, this is Russel Orhii. Goes by Russwole on social media. He's a dude that I've known through social media for a while. I like his style. I like the confidence that he exudes with who he is as a person. I respect his sense of self, and so that's why I have him here today.
Yeah.
Want to connect with him and get to know him a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
So Russ, welcome.
Appreciate that, man. I'm honored to be here. Yeah.
Man. So the reason I'm doing this show, right, is because there's a couple places where I feel like I have really good conversation. One, it's like I go grab coffee with somebody, and for some reason it's always like I always leave feeling full. I always leave with like a good energy and I always have a really good conversation. Another place, say you like go to dinner with friends and then you walk, everybody's leaving, right? I feel like what happens is I end up with one person standing like outside of a car and we end up chatting for like 45 minutes. And you just have some deep level conversation just for whatever reason, standing outside of a car after dinner, and you just connect with one person.
Yeah.
That always happens. So anyways, I created this space because I feel like there's something there that allows you to have a conversation that is not surface level, which unfortunately is a lot of conversation that I feel like we have these days. And so that's why I'm doing this show.
Yeah.
That's why I have you here. And really, I have a ton of stuff I want to talk to you about, but I want to start with the obvious, why powerlifting?
That's a good question. When I think about it, like I've always been like a competitive person in my life. Like I played football coming up. Obviously I'm from Houston, Texas, so that's like culture here. And once I lost the ability to compete at an extremely, extremely high level, I wanted to do something that would give me an opportunity to kind of feed that competitive drive. So I started working out at like LA Fitness, like doing actual bodybuilding stuff instead of doing things that could prepare me for football. And in that pursuit, I started watching different content creators at the time, people like CT Fletcher, but then going on to like Barbell Brigade, Silent Mike, Nadeem, Bart Kwan, all those kind of people, and then, Jesse Norris. And these are people that are pioneers in the powerlifting space. I started watching their content and they were doing competitions. And I'm like, damn, like, I love to lift. I love to do like the big three, which is bench, squat, and deadlift. Fuck it, let me try powerlifting. And I tried powerlifting and I fell in love with it. Once I stepped on the platform for that first time, I found almost like a peace in being able to like physically express myself. Because powerlifting to me is a form of expression, right? I look at athletics as people using their bodies to create art. And for me, when I'm inside of the gym, I don't think you've ever seen me train inside the gym, but I train like a crackhead. Like, if you look at me, you probably think I'm a madman, but it's more so just me expressing, whether it be maybe I'm happy that day or I'm frustrated or whatever. Powerlifting basically just gives me that route to just express myself. So, yeah.
I could definitely tell just from your videos. And that's, like I said earlier, that's something that I respect about you is like your style and your strong sense of self that allows you to just be you.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that you've brought to the powerlifting community and the fitness community in general. I feel like you've really, I don't know if I would say started a trend or just started this movement of people dressing dope to go hit their lift.
Yeah.
Like wearing shit that makes them feel good to go lift, because you don't have to wear a specific thing or look a certain way.
Yeah.
But you can do you and just show up for yourself and show up in the gym. And I feel like the way that you just documented your own life and your own journey as a human being and in the fitness community really inspired a lot of people to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's really dope, and I commend you for kind of kicking off that wave and continuing to just show people to just keep it real.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And the way, like, it's weird because like I never really intended to, I guess, like do that. I think for me, mostly, like me as a human being, I'm a contrarian, right? So it's like if people are leaning all the way in this one direction, I naturally want to deviate from that and I want to separate from that. So like I noticed in the fitness community, everyone kind of wanted to look the same. It's almost like you want to fit in to help yourself propel to like new heights, I guess. I don't know. And clothing wise, I've never been that type of person. And I started like, I mean, I love shoes. I love Jordans, I love Nikes, I love shoe culture in general. And I was like, damn, I really don't be doing anything except going to the gym. I never really have an opportunity to wear my shoes. I started saying like, yo, fuck it, let me wear my shoes to the gym. So I started doing that, and that just kind of took on a life on its own. And I'm not here to say that like I'm the first motherfucker to ever wear like Jordans and shit to the gym, but I did make it a point to kind of express to people like, hey, like, don't feel like you got to conform to what these other people are doing. Like live your life and wear shit that makes you feel confident. For me, it's my Jordans. Like when I wear these like rare exclusive Jordans to the gym, I feel more inclined to have like a better workout. I don't know, just like look good, feel good, right? So I encourage people to do the same. And I think I'm also just thankful that it just kind of took on a life of its own, because I'll be seeing people express themselves in that manner in the gym now as well.
Yeah, and I think that it has inspired a lot of people. And I think at the beginning, you took a lot of flack for it. And it's funny because a lot of those voices that were giving you flack, you see them rocking Jordans in the gym now. And I don't know, that's something that I always admire about people, especially content creators and people on social media, is maintaining a level head when it comes to either praise or when it comes to hate. Because when you're doing something noticeable or mentionable, or you're creating a wave, you're going to get both of those things. And if you listen, whether it's on the positive side or you listen on the negative side, it's going to take you in the wrong direction. And to have longevity as a creator, you have to be in that level-headed area where it doesn't really have much effect on you, and you just continue doing you. And so that's something you do really well. Why do you think people give you so much flack? Like, why do you think it just seems to be a common trend whenever, you know, you were a champion for so long, people just want to hate for no reason?
Yeah.
Why?
I think it's just mostly just human nature. I do understand that there's certain things that I'll do that's not normal in the space. And when you do things like that, you kind of take the flack for it because people hate what they don't really understand. And then after a while, they start thinking about it more and more. It becomes more normalized and like, oh, okay, this is why he does X, Y, and Z. So for example, right, in the powerlifting community, obviously, like we compete, right? And we have our meet day. And I'm always in the mindset of I want to take powerlifting to places it hasn't been. Like I want it to be recognized as like an Olympic sport at some point, right? And to me, it's the details that kind of help us propel to that stage. But I know like whenever I go to a meet, the second that I wake up, it's on, right? So I'm a fan of sports culture and like all these different other organizations when it comes to like NFL, MLB, NBA. One of the cool things that they do is the tunnel walk, right? Where the athletes are wearing like either like whatever they want to wear, right? A suit or whatever. And that's like a pivotal moment. It's like, oh, LeBron James is walking in ready for game 6, right? And they show like he's like in a suit or whatever. You're like, oh, that motherfucker's about to go crazy, right? And that's part of the meet. And I decided to do that. And I think, I don't know if I was the first person, but I definitely was the person to catch a lot of the heat for it. But I was in Sweden for a world championship meet, and I wore a suit to warm-ups and to weigh-ins. And everyone was looking at me just like, what the fuck is this guy doing, you know? Mind you, like, you have to realize, like, these powerlifting meets are held in, like, sometimes, like, hotel places or, like, gymnasiums or something like that. So you have, like, someone just walking in with a suit. That's abnormal. So I don't expect everyone to understand off rip what I'm trying to do. I'll explain myself, but I understand there's gonna be people gonna be like, that's fucking cringe, or that's whack, or this guy's doing the most. And it's like, yeah, I'm doing the most because I want powerlifting to go further. So I just understand when you do stuff like that. I mean, there is gonna come people that question it, but I do live in the space of like, yeah, maybe you'll question it now, but I feel like at some point you're gonna come around to it. So
how did you develop such a strong sense of self, such a strong confidence to be you? Have you always been like that, or is that something you've had to work on? Nah,
it's something that I've always just kind of been. I think I credit that to my mom and just like my family in general. Like both my mom and dad are very unique people. Actually, my dad in particular, my dad is very eccentric in some manners. And I think like I just saw him just be confident in himself and just not really give a fuck what other people thought. And then on top of that too, that's just how I naturally am. Like I said earlier, I'm a contrarian, so I believe in myself, and sometimes it's a double-edged sword. Maybe I believe in myself too much, and I put myself in situations that I could have avoided. Maybe I'd been a little bit more humble, but I'm very confident, and I think that if I want to do something, I just think I could do it, or I know if I like something and I just like it, I'm okay with that as well.
Okay, so since you've always been like that, what are some pieces of advice you might give to someone that's struggling to find that sense of self-confidence?
I was just talking to someone about this yesterday, because we were talking about comments, like IG comments, rude comments and all that kind of stuff. I think you can't look to others for validation, or look to others. You can't give people the power to pull you down or tear you down, right? So, man, mastering the art of truly not giving a fuck is difficult. But I think what I keep in mind all the time is you're never as good as they say you are, and you're never as bad as they say you are. And if you're able to find a happy balance in between, people's praises will never really be able to build you up, and people's takeaways will never be able to tear you down. So I think like that's the biggest thing, but at the same time, you also just need to sit down and love yourself. Like, it sounds corny as fuck, but like literally just be so in love with yourself that no one can affect how you view yourself.
Yeah. How do you love yourself?
I think I post about it on social media all the time, but I'll say shit like, I'm sexy as fuck. Like,
a sexy bald-headed man.
I'm a sexy bald black motherfucker. Like, I don't know. I just look at it. It's like, this is me. I gotta love me. I gotta be me for the rest of my fucking life. Like, I can't hate myself. That sounds like a miserable existence. So it's like, I'm 5'6". I'm bald. Like I'm bald right now. Like, and I still think I'm sexy. I'm like, damn. Like,
hey, but the short king face card never declines, bro.
Bro, people always would be like, people would always like message me when I would do my questionnaires and be like, how do you deal with being short? How do you deal with da da da? And I'm like, man, I know y'all not trying to make me like the short representative king or whatever. Like, I never really viewed myself as short. Like, whenever I'm around people, I don't think like, oh, this motherfucker is like way taller than me or whatever. Like, I move off of just like energy and vibration. So when I walk into rooms, I feel like I'm the biggest person there. Like, not like in a disrespectful way, but like the way that I move, I carry myself in a way that like height doesn't really matter. I mean, I think me being like kind of swole helps too, but I just don't really operate in the traditional sense that a lot of people do. You could be tall as fuck, but I've been around a lot of tall people that I don't feel short around because I feel like my energy is bigger than theirs anyways.
I mean, same thing goes for, I feel like, physical fitness levels as well. It's like you can, I see it all the time, and you can be really aesthetically pleasing. You can have built a really great physique, but you can still be like we were talking about unsweet green tea. And you know, I mean, I think people can be born with that confidence. I think people can be born with just like feeling themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for a lot of people, myself included, I really had to create this person that I wanted to be.
Yeah.
I've just always been a very hyper independent person.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot, like when I was in high school and middle school, I didn't really feel like I fit in. So I would try to conform to, you know, one year I have an emo haircut.
Yeah.
The next year I'm wearing overly baggy clothes.
Yeah.
The next year I'm like wearing a fucking a polo with like skinny jeans, like whatever. So I'm trying all these things to try and fit in with people, right? But up until like my mid 20s, where I just realized like, man, I'm just me.
Yeah.
And then I was able to just lean into, this is like you said, bro, you have only one body, you're only one person, and you are you.
Yeah.
And if you don't love and appreciate yourself, you're gonna live a miserable existence.
Oh, for sure.
And but I think for a lot of people, it takes some real work to just find that acceptance, whether that was because they, I don't know, might have been bullied, or they might have dealt with like a rough upbringing. But it's absolutely achievable. And I think the more you talk to people and the more you share what you have going on, the more you'll feel related to them, because you'll think, it'll surprise you how many people are going through the same exact thing you're going through.
And you know what's so crazy? Like you bringing that up in high school, like, you know, I'm starting to also, like, back in high school, I used to be cool with like I found uniqueness cool. So like in high school and just like school in general, or just in society in general, people that stick out tend to get bullied. But I respect people that stick out because you're not afraid to stick out, right? So like in high school, I'm thinking about like all like, I guess the quote unquote nerds or like the theater kids. I fucked with those people because I'm like, bro, these people are being authentically them. Like they're not trying to conform to anything. They're like, they have an interest that they have given 100% into, and it reflects on their personality and how they present themselves. I think that's beautiful. So like I remember I would be like, you know, chilling with the theater kids at lunch, and like obviously I was like one of the captains of the football team, so I was cool with the jocks. And then like the nerds, like I guess like quote unquote nerds, right? That played like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! I was into that shit too. So like I'd be hanging out with them because I'm like, yo, these people are not afraid to be themselves. Whereas like the cool kids, quote unquote, the ones that did everything to fit in, when you really think about it, I feel like all the eccentric, weird, quote unquote, weird, nerdy theater kids, those are the kids that end up doing dope shit at like now, like in today's world, versus the cool kids, like they kind of fizzled out. Like by the time we reached high school, by the time we reached college, they were already kind of like peaked out. So if you're like a younger kid watching this video, bro, don't be afraid to be you. Like I feel like a lot of people, especially at that age, you're so concerned with fitting in and conforming, like you said. But it's like, nah, fuck that, man. I'm telling you, like at your high school reunion, you're gonna be looking at these motherfuckers. You're like, man, I'm happy. I'm happy I didn't conform like y'all did. So, man,
it's so true.
Yeah.
I feel like also when you're young and you try and you try all the things, right? Like especially when it comes to sports.
Yeah.
Like you play sports, you play sports like basketball, football, but then you also do individual sports like, I don't know, skateboarding or tennis or different types of things like that. I feel like make you such a cooler adult.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because then you can fuck with everybody.
Yeah.
Like when you stay in, it's so weird. Like there's so many conflicting advice. Stay in your lane, like whatever. But I feel like when you try all these different things, it just allows you to connect with so many more people. And as I get older, I feel like one of the most valuable things I have in my life is an ability to connect with other human beings, no matter where they're from, what they do, whatever. Again, going back to like what this show is rooted in, is connection. And earlier you were talking about your parents, and I'm always curious about people's upbringing. I know you talked about it a little bit, and I've seen on social media you posted about your ethnicity, your cultural background a little bit, and I've always been curious just if you'd be open to sharing some of that with me, because I don't know much about. I don't even want to speak because I don't remember where you said your family's from. So if you could
Yeah.
share with me, dude. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll give you like my whole. I actually did a podcast with my mom, kind of discussing everything. But I'm fully Nigerian, right? So both my parents are from Nigeria. My dad came here on a student visa, and both my parents were able to get their citizenship like back in like the early 2000s. But yeah, fully Nigerian. I'm first generation here in Houston, so my upbringing was interesting because like. I'm sure some of the people that hear this Nigerian, you hear like that's like strict. I feel like most foreign people are pretty strict, but like strict upbringing. My parents weren't like that. Like I think my parents went out of their way to kind of adopt Western culture. So like when we got here, I think they were just like constantly learning and constantly trying to give their kids the best life that we could have in America, but not in the traditional Nigerian sense of that. So like there wasn't like, oh, you can't hang out with friends out, like you can't have sleepovers, any of that kind of stuff. It was more so like, okay, we're learning with you guys. Okay, like you want to sleep over, like why? Okay, let's have that. Okay, like and they were constantly just evolving with us. So I had a great upbringing. Like my parents they would take time out. They both worked extremely hard, but they would take time out of the day to kind of just like ingrain a lot of the stuff that I say now, like hard work. You could be anything that you want to be. I think that's part of the reason why I have so much confidence now, because there are so many conversations at like the breakfast table or just like when we're just gathered around. It's like, hey, you know, this world isn't going to give you anything, but you know, you guys can literally do anything that you want as long as you put in the work. And I truly believe that now. Like I dead ass believe if there's something that I wanted to do right now, if I put in work for a decent amount of time, it's going to happen at some point. So yeah, my parents were super instrumental. My parents were actually very, very involved in my life, and they're a big reason as to who and what I am now.
And you have siblings? You said we, so
I have 3 siblings. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm the oldest of 4. Okay. So I have 2 brothers and then a sister.
Are you guys all pretty tight?
Nah, not at all. Yeah. Okay. So like we kind of just do our own thing. I think like, so the baby of the family is 22 now. We have a better relationship where maybe we'll communicate, but the other ones, like we just kind of live in our own spaces. Yeah.
Are they also in Texas?
Yeah, they're all in Texas. So my sister is finishing med school.
Oh, wow.
My brother is studying, and then my baby brother, he's like into like MMA.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, MMA and all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Man, that's cool. That's really great to hear that your parents were they were there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I feel like nowadays, a lot of people come from broken families, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I think it can have its positives out of it. I mean, for me, coming from a broken family, it made me hyper independent, which is great because I'm super self-sufficient. But going into romantic relationships, that can have an effect. That can create an avoidant attachment style to where I'm like, man, I just got to do my own thing, or I don't it can make you have a less of an understanding of someone's way of being when they're not hyper independent.
Yeah.
And so it's taken a lot of work for me. I'm in a relationship now, and it's really cool to see the growth that I've had in being able to maintain independence, but also being able to show up for my girlfriend in the way that she needs it. What about you, man? That's such
a good fucking question. I mean, that's such a good fucking take, because I was talking about this recently, like, and I can answer that question after this, but like I was telling someone that so growing up, my parents weren't super affectionate to each other and me, and like I didn't understand what it was to like express love, I guess, in a sense where it's like outward or any of that kind of stuff. But then when I started getting into relationships, I wasn't initially into PDA or just like being super affectionate or whatever. And I learned that like, nah, that's actually really important to me. But then something that I took from my parents' relationship is that they never stop talking when they're together. Like they're like, well, number one, they're always together. Like whether it's like running errands or going to do it, they're always together, but they never stop talking. There is no dead space. There is no like quiet. It's always talking about something. Right. And I started realizing that I seek that in my relationships going forward. Like if I'm going to date a girl or take a girl seriously, one of the biggest things that I make sure I could do is hey, do we have a good conversation? Can I talk to you all day and not get tired? Like, can I yap with you all day and like we have like actual stimulating conversations? And I'm like, damn, where is this shit coming from? And I started like unpacking things. I'm like, damn, my parents' relations were just like that. So I started realizing that. But right now, no, I'm single. I'm single right now. Yeah, I'm chilling.
How's Houston dating life? I'm just.
I feel like, man. I mean, this is probably true in every city, but I mean, it's tough, man. I feel like I'm turning 30 this year, like December 9th.
Big year.
Yeah. So it's just a little bit different, bro. Like you have to just be like a lot more cognizant of people. You never know what people's intentions are. And then too, like you might be meeting someone that's like in a journey that you've kind of already passed and you maybe don't want to experience that journey with them. So yeah, it's different. And plus everyone's like fucking each other. So it's like, I'm like, bro, I don't want to be like, I don't know, man. I'm not into that life, bro. I just want to be like out the way with a girl that hasn't been with people that I know. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, nah, I get that. I feel like a lot of people have their phase though.
Yeah.
When they're young, and that's not to just write off, go be a hoe, go just whatever. But I mean, I believe you have to like experience, and I think that dating can mean many things.
Yeah.
Dating can mean just going on one date and like getting to know somebody and finding out that, oh, I don't really like someone with a personality like that.
Yeah.
And just giving you the life experience to know what you would be looking for in a partner. I don't know if necessarily like looking for a partner is the best thing either. I think that kind of doing your own thing and letting it fall into place when it does, that's how you're going to find the most long-lasting relationship that you could find. But yeah, bro, I can't imagine like actively trying to date right now. Austin is horrible too.
Yeah.
At least from what I hear.
I just feel like every big city, like especially if you operate in certain circles, because I mean, like I operate in the fitness, social media circle or whatever. So like a lot of the girls that I'm going to be running into probably do the same thing. And you know, it's not like they're bad people. It's just, you just tend to run into people that have experienced other people in the space too. And I personally don't like that. But also what's cool about dating at this age too is that a lot of these women have careers, which is great. Like I like that. Like I like going on a date with someone that is an executive member of a tech company, or like, you know, there's a lawyer, or that's cool to me because when I was like younger, it's like we're all just trying to figure life out. We don't even know what we want. But now at this age, like people are pretty kind of either set or getting set in who they are going to become or be in this world. So that's cool. And then at this age, bro, like to the single people that are listening to this that are like my age, you might be dating someone that has like a kid or like divorced or whatever. Like I've talked to a couple girls where it's like either they're divorced or they have a kid. And I'm just like, I mean, that's going to be more and more frequent as I get older, because the chances of a girl not being married and having a kid at the age of 30, I mean, it's a little bit more slim because I mean, we're getting more experience in our life. So they're probably going to experience a lot more too. So it's like one of the things that like, it's new for me.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I think that's also a great take though, talking about dating in your late 20s, early 30s, is that whether, you know, man or woman, the people that you're going to meet at that age, like you said, probably do already have things figured out a little bit, and they have lived a lot of life, and they have a story that you could either resonate with or not, and decide if you want to move forward or whatever. So I think that's a great take too. But I don't know, man. Moving on kind of from dating into, I guess this kind of stays in the same lane, sort of. You said you're turning 30 this year.
Yeah.
So you're about to get that Unk status, right?
They already gave it to me. When I shaved my head, they started calling me Unk automatic. So.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's great, bro. I feel like I'm 31 now.
Okay.
I turned 30 last year. And it was weird. I feel like turning 30, I was like not thinking I'm going to be old, right? But I was like, I don't know. I didn't really, for some reason, there was just this weird like wall I thought I was going to run into, or just this weird energy I thought I was going to feel. But interestingly enough, I feel like I've got my shit together now.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I feel like I'm on the other side of uncertainty, kind of, because I have like a fairly established career with social media. I have a much stronger sense of self than I did when I was like young, and I don't know. I'm looking forward to my 30s, I guess, because I just feel like now I can experience life with the knowledge that I have, and I don't know, the confidence. So going in, I don't know. Do you have any preconceived notions about age or anything like that?
I think like
It's not
30
old.
is just
It's not old, bro.
It's not old at all. Like, and it's funny because like when I was 21, when I started hanging out with like I guess like, you know, being around like Shawley and Christian and Max and all them, I used to make fun of them because they're a little bit older than me. They're like 2 to 3 years older than me, and I'd be like, "Bitch, man, y'all motherfuckers are old as fuck." Like, it's like, oh my, I'll be making jokes on my, I bet your knees hurt and all that kind of stuff. And now that I'm at that age, I'm like, man, it's really not that old. Like, I feel like at this age, it becomes more fun because you're already more realized. At 21, 22, 23, you're like, what the fuck am I gonna do with my life? But at 30, I mean, in some respects, you might still kind of be like that because, like, I mean, we're all kind of wondering what life is. But no, I'm pretty sure. I'm confident who I am. I'm confident what I do. I'm already established in my career.
Yeah.
The only thing that gets a little bit weird is thinking about companionship and marriage and all that kind of stuff. But I just have weird takes on marriage anyways now.
Let's hear it. I want to hear the weird takes. I'm here for this.
Not weird takes, but like, I think marriage is a beautiful thing. I think it's amazing. I just think that sometimes we put too much pressure on marriage and put too much stock in marriage. And I'm not saying that I don't want to get married. I just want to do it for the right reasons when it makes sense. Not because I feel like I should be married at this point. And I think a lot of people fall victim to that. So they'll get to like 30 and it's like, I need to get married. So they'll just like almost settle. Because you're at that age where you're scared. Like, you're not sure if you're going to find someone that's going to, you know, I guess, fulfill those requirements that are needed for you to propose or whatever. But like, I think we lose sight of what marriage kind of is. It's like the most important business contract that you're going to sign. And that's how it was. That's how it was framed ever since the beginning of marriage. Like, it's only recently where we've become a little bit more intelligent, where marriage is now linked to romance. Where now, like, women have become independent enough to where they could choose their suitor. Because before it was like, nah, you're getting married because we want their land and we want to connect our families business-wise, structure-wise, right? So you have those arranged marriages. When you get married, you got to go to the courthouse, sign a prenup, right? Or you got to get that figured out. If you don't sign a prenup, your prenup's gonna be whatever the state you're in. So I think people lose sight of that a little bit, and they just want to get married for the aspect of societal pressures. But yeah, I want to get married at one point. But it's just funny because I just look at myself. I'm like, I might just be that uncle that always got a girl, you know, at the cookout. Sometimes, like, it's always a different girl. So I don't know, man. I'm not like trying to be that uncle that just is a bachelor, but at the same time too, I mean, I'm starting to understand it might be a possibility, and I can see how that happens.
Yeah. Do you have positive experiences with relationships?
Yeah. I have great relationships. I just think that, yeah, I do. It's just, well, like I said, it's almost like when you get to a certain age, you start thinking a little bit more. You're like, damn, I still haven't locked nobody down yet. Like, damn, I still haven't figured out how to go long term with somebody. In a sense, like, we're actually like getting into a union. I think it's just more so the age thing, where it's like, shit, another 5 years to go by, I could be 35 and still be single. So I think it's mostly just that.
Interesting. Yeah, I do like what you said though about how marriage is moving more towards a romance instead of just a piece of paper or a business deal for land. And like, I think it's cool how you brought that up. For me, what's important, I do want to get married too. But in my current relationship, we've taken things slow, intentionally. We've been together for over 2 years now, and we still live separately. Just because I've rushed into things before,
Yeah.
And then when you rush into things, you tend to fill a void.
Yeah.
Whether you consciously realize it or not,
Yeah.
you probably are filling some sort of void.
Mhm.
And so building, like, instead of marriage, what I really feel like my long-term goal is with my relationship is just to have a true partnership.
Yeah.
You know? And I feel like it sounds like your parents are a pretty good example of what a true partnership looks like. And I feel like I've seen other people's relationships that look like true partnerships, but at the same time, I feel like it's still somewhat rare to see, I don't know, two people that just ride. That's like what sums it up, is like they'll ride for each other, and shit, it may not be romantic, you know, at times.
I feel like, relationships it's selflessness, right? You have to strip your ego in all respect, because I think sometimes, like, when in relationships, we tend to move off of ego, and ego destroys everything. And in a relationship, it's constant, like, what could I do for the betterment of us, I feel like. And I feel like a lot of people don't move in that sense. And what happens is that it's like, you're not doing this for me, X, Y, and Z, da da da. And in some respects, I mean, that's true. I mean, you do need to be satisfied in a relationship as well, but there's also sacrifices that need to be made that I feel like people ignore. And that's why it's important to be with people. And this is fucking, and I'll tell all my homeboys this too, because I'll be like, we be hanging out and like we be with their girls or whatever, and they be treating their girls like shit. And I'm like, dog, let that girl go. Like, come on, man. Like, you're treated like she doesn't deserve this. Like, she deserves someone that actually like likes her or whatever. But there's a lot of people that just be in relationships, they don't really be fucking with the girl like that, or like vice versa. It's just almost like a convenient thing. Like, you know, like, I feel like if you ever feel like if you need to go to the I was having this conversation yesterday, bro. If you gotta feel like you gotta go to the gym to get away from your girl, and you guys are not fighting or whatever, that's a problem to me, man. Yeah. Like, I'm like, when I'm like locked in with a girl, like, first of all, for me to date someone, I have to feel like I could be vulnerable with you, we're best friends or whatever. I don't want to leave my best friend. Like, if I have to go to the gym or whatever, I have to do what I have to do. But I'm not going because I want to get away from you. I'm going because this is an obligation that I have to, fulfill. But I'm gonna come back excited to come back to you, not like, oh, let me go hang out with my boys to get away from my girl. It's like, what?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I understand there's healthy, relationships that you need to have, or space or whatever, but it's just like, you'd be shocked, man, if you talk to, I mean, you be knowing the vibes sometimes. You were like, man, you don't like that girl like that, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy. Why would you stay with them at that point?
Convenience.
I think, bro, don't go to the gym. If you're in that situation, you find yourself going to the gym to avoid hanging out with your partner, bro, go to therapy. Don't go to the fucking gym.
Yeah.
Bro, the gym is my therapy. I'm fucking fighting my demons. Bro, go talk to somebody.
The demons are winning, brother.
God, the demons. Go talk to somebody. Bro, if there's anything I'm a big proponent of, it's therapy, especially for men, man.
Yeah.
I mean, for everybody, but especially for men, because I wasn't taught to process emotions.
Yeah.
And a lot of dudes aren't. And it is something that I think saved my life, is totally transformed my life, is just going to therapy. And there's a difference too between finding a therapist that is just, you're just going to tell them about your day, and then a therapist that's going to have you doing work to get through your shit.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. So there's this one specific type of therapy. It's called EMDR.
Okay.
It's like basically, I'm just going to call it like the way I put it, the way I try to tell people, it's like time traveling, right?
Okay.
And so what they do is they put you in the state with like a beat, like a beat that's going off, or you have like buzzers in your hands or whatever, and the beat is going between each ear, so it's like dun, 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 dun. And what that's doing is it's like, supposedly it's getting your brain in sync, or just like almost like hypnosis.
Okay.
And then the therapist will ask you these questions about a certain event or something that has you feeling upset, right? And they'll ask it to you, and you tell them, and then they'll just keep asking you deeper and deeper things till the next thing you know, I'm 6 years old again, like watching my father leave.
What?
And I know it sounds kind of crazy. But it's not.
That makes sense.
It's not actually time traveling, but it's reparenting an energy. It's like reparenting yourself.
Okay.
And just there's stuff you just didn't realize you suppressed.
Yeah.
Like when you're that young, you don't remember a lot of things. And so anyways, all that long-winded stuff to say is that if you're not happy in your relationship, go to therapy, bro.
Therapy, I went to therapy in 2020 to 2022, I believe. Yeah. I was doing like consistent therapy. I liked it. It was really good. I think it helped me get to the point where I'm at now. Like I initially went to, this was like, so during 2020 we had like the Black Lives Matter movement or whatever, all that kind of stuff. And I think people don't understand like how traumatizing it is to see that kind of stuff on social media, like repeatedly. Like we're going through an election cycle right now. It's exhausting. Social media is kind of exhausting right now. It's like left this, right that, race this, race that. And it's just like at a certain point, like it kind of does weigh heavy sometimes. So I remember during that time, I was just going through a lot of different stuff. And then I think like the BLM stuff was kind of like the thing that pushed over the edge. I was like, let me just go sit down and talk with someone. Cause I'm just like, I'm cutting relationships off based off like certain things that are happening in the moment. And I'm like, this is probably like emotionally irresponsible. So let me go ahead and go seek therapy. And it was great. There was a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of things that I guess I held on to during my childhood that were manifesting themselves in my adult life. And then also just like being able to retroactively like unpack things. Like she would give me assignments to do like in real life, and it caused me to combat a lot of the things that I was pushing against. She was a big proponent on making yourself uncomfortable to kind of deal with those issues in real moments. So like, I mean, shit, some of the stuff that I used to struggle with is I had a lot of social anxiety. Like a lot, like an abnormal amount, which is weird. Like whenever I tell people that, they're like, you're usually like the loudest person whenever we're in social settings. I'm like, that's mostly because I just want to control the situation or the environment or the room. So if I get into a place, if I dictate the energy, I don't have to really do shit, right? But if I'm not dictating the energy, I'm just observing, I'm on defense in my mind, right? So yeah, I used to deal with a lot of social anxiety. And she told me, you should invite people to your house, to your apartment to hang out. And I'm like, I just told you I do. I was like, that sounds like what I shouldn't be doing, right? She's like, no, like I want to challenge, like I want you to invite people. And then I also want you to think about, like really think about what you're thinking about during those moments, right? So like, much to my chagrin, I was like, all right, bet, let me invite some people over. So I invited some people over. And I started thinking about the things that would cause me to just have so much angst, right? Because my shit used to manifest in sweat. Like we could be in my apartment and I would just be drenched in sweat. And it's because I'm like overthinking. I'm like, is this guest having fun? Like, would they come back again? Do they think my apartment is dirty? Like stupid shit like that, right? And I started unpacking that and I was like, damn, this is what I'm thinking about? I'm like, why the fuck do I care about this shit? I thought I'm a person that don't care about what people think. And then, yeah, we just unpacked that and we kept unpacking. And now like, I don't deal with social anxiety the way I used to now. Like, and even if I do, I just unpack it. Like, I'm just like, all right, cool. Like you're tripping right now because you've never met that person and you want that person to think that you're cool. But I mean, like, who really gives a fuck? Just be yourself and whatever happens from that situation happens. I was like, all right, bet. And then now I've just gotten to a point now where like that it doesn't bother me at all. Yeah. So I could go into rooms with 1,000 different people that I don't know and feel completely comfortable.
Yeah. But I think what you said at the beginning, when you're trying to get rid of that anxiety or change that about yourself, you were just very conscious in those moments, like kind of checking yourself, checking the anxiety as it's coming on to be like, okay, what am I really anxious about in the moment? And that, I think that is probably the best way that you could handle that. Yeah. And I appreciate you sharing, opening up about that. Cause
for sure.
It really helps, I think. I mean, for me too, but I think it helps for a lot of other people to hear. Because like I said, one of the things I respect about you most is your confidence and sense of self. And I think that people being able to hear that coming from you, just this big, buff, overly himself person, I think it's a really great thing for people to hear.
And it's funny too, because like when I look at some of this stuff now, man, I really don't be giving a fuck. Like I really like, I used to like overthink situations and things, but now like I've just reached a point, and this is what I love about getting older. I truly do not give a fuck. So it's like, man, like if I go to a restaurant, that's another thing too. Like if I went to a restaurant, I would be so concerned of my overdress, am I underdressed, da da da. What are they thinking, da da da. And I'm always trying to get in other people's heads to dictate like how the situation should go. You can't do that. You literally just cannot do that. So it's just like, let that go. And then another thing therapy helped with me personally is just like unpacking emotions in the moment, because I'm a very passionate person, and sometimes like I guess like the term people use now is crash out in a sense. So like if someone, I guess like if I feel like someone does me dirty or whatever, I have no problem crashing out. Like I have no problem crashing out, right? Yeah. But it's like, is that the right thing to do? Number one, are your feelings valid in a sense to where you need to destroy this relationship, right? And also, too, just have a fucking conversation, right? Like sometimes you interpret things in a way that wasn't intended to be interpreted that way, and that's a conversation. So, yeah.
Man, I feel like communication can solve 95% of miscommunication and misunderstanding.
And that's something I'm still working on for sure, but it's something that I'm aware of.
Man, it's crazy, because the other day, I play pickleball a lot. I'm someone that like caught that wave like a year ago, and I was playing the other day, and I heard this dude behind me. He was like talking to this other guy, and he's like, "Man, this shit won't fly out in Houston." Like saying all this shit. He was talking kind of crazy, and I was like, I just turned around and I was like, "Bro, are you really talking like that right now?" Yeah. And he's like, at first he was like kind of puffing his chest, saying like, "Hey, you need to check yourself. You're not in the conversation, blah, 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 blah." And then this lady came in and was like, "Alex, like, it's okay. I'm fine, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "No, I'm just talking to him." And then when I said that, it was like some sort of switch flipped in him where he was like, "Oh, I appreciate you sharing your opinion and I respect that." And then from that point, we just had a conversation. Yeah. And so, whereas I feel like it could have gone a totally different direction if it wasn't too like, maybe he was talking crazy, but it seems like he was fairly level-headed based on the conversation we had following that. Yeah. But I don't know, man. I feel like just communicating with him there, and then him hearing me communicate to that lady, it changed everything.
That's good, because I feel like in that situation, I would have said something worse than you said. I would just be like, I'm like, man, doing all that talking, do something. Yeah. Like, don't talk, just do something.
I've done that before too. Yeah. And I don't feel good. I don't feel good afterwards though. I'm like, I'm like, man, I'm like, shit, I'm like 28 years, like it happened a couple years ago. I was like, bro, I'm 28 years old, and I'm like, saying crazy shit in the supermarket to this guy. Yeah. Because he's trying to tell me not to buy. This was during COVID. He's trying to tell me not to buy 3 packs of chicken. Like they were limiting food. Oh, and they were limiting how much shit you could buy at the grocery store for a certain period of time during COVID. Yeah. And this dude was trying to tell me like I couldn't buy 3 packs of chicken. And
some random dude he didn't work there? Oh yeah, no.
And I started going off, and I was like, fuck you, like, all right, let's like, we can go outside. And then I was like, man, I don't even want to go back to that store. I feel embarrassed now.
At this age, man, I have no interest of like, man, I'm peace, man. I don't want no problems, man. Yeah. I feel like getting hit at this age would hurt so much. I don't want that shit, man.
Nah, bro. Yeah. Man, Russ, bro, I really appreciate this conversation, dude, for real.
For sure, man.
Just kind of wrap things up here. It's something I try to ask everybody that comes on the show. We hear it a lot when we're younger, when we're in high school, even in college, is just, who do you want to be when you grow up? But now that we're adults, fully grown adults, so to preface that, I don't think we ever grow up. Yeah. First of all. But if I were to ask you today, being 29 years old, who do you want to be when you grow up? What would you say?
I feel like I often think about like my late coach from high school. He would always end practice, or like I remember he would have like a lot of speeches after practice talking about, obviously we want you guys to be like good football players, we want you guys to commit to the program, but he's like, most importantly, I just want you to be a positive impact in your community. So whatever my community is, whether it be like me being someone that's from Houston, or like wherever I work out, or maybe the social media fitness space or the powerlifting space, I want to be a positive impact. So I just want to be someone that inspires others to reach their highest purpose. I think also Tupac has this great quote. It's like, I may not change the world, but I may inspire the mind that does, right? So I just want to keep pushing people to be better versions of themselves, right? And I don't know if this like kind of ties into the question, but I also just want to challenge myself to be more present in the community, like physically, not just like, you know, on social media. Like I want to do like stuff where I give back, or, you know, just talk to the youth, or have like a mentor program, something like that. Just because I remember what it was like to have people like that come to our high school or our junior highs or whatever and talk. And, you know, when you're that age, you're not always taking it in, right? But if there's one kid that I could appeal to that listens to what I have to say and applies that to their life, that actually means a lot to me at this age now. So whenever I meet people in person, they say that, you know, that I've encouraged them to start powerlifting or like be more of themselves. Like I was having a long ass conversation with these people yesterday about how I encourage them to get more into the gym and take their physical fitness more serious. And to me, that means a lot, because I know what it feels like to be inspired by something or somebody, and to know that I could do that at this stage of my life, I'm super grateful for. So I think just as I get older, I'm starting to think more about legacy and what could I do to leave a positive impact versus like, you know, the money. I don't care about money really. The accolades are awesome. I'm competitive and I love that shit. But I think what really moves me these days is just like being able to connect with people and inspire and change. So I think that's just the biggest thing that has like definitely changed about myself, that I want to become as I get older.
I love that, and I can definitely relate. That's something that resonates a ton, and actually is a little bit of an underlining. Not even a little bit. It's literally in the as I was building out this show, reaching younger men is something I hope to do, just because I know how big of an impact it can have, especially those without fathers, like myself growing up without a father, is just having stronger men that speak truth and positivity into your life. Like the difference that can make, the life and death difference that can make on a lot of young men is so powerful. And so I think it's really cool that you share in that calling, I guess you can say, or purpose, because it's something that I think is so important for us as men to do for younger men and younger boys. 100%. And so something I super appreciate and respect about you. And man, I feel like we could keep running this up.
Yeah, I was like, man, it's funny because as we're talking, I'm thinking in conversation mode. So I'm like, oh, I want to ask him about this. I want to ask him about that. I want to ask him about that. But I'm like, let me just let him run his show. And like, I don't want to like overextend or anything like that.
No,
but
I think it's been great, man. It's been a really great conversation. I feel full. I feel super good about it, and I'm really glad that you took the time to come out here in this 90-degree, 100% humidity.
Feels great.
Yeah,
now.
we got some cloud coverage, but man, I really appreciate you being on the show. If you guys don't know Russ, I hope you know him better now. Maybe there's some stuff that he hasn't talked about before. I don't know, but that's kind of my goal, is to get you to get my guests or people that I hang out with to share some stuff that people may have to dig a little deeper to find or may not have heard yet. And so I appreciate all the vulnerability, all the realness, all the laughs we had. It was a great conversation, and I hope that we can potentially run it back in the future in another season. Sure. And I'll drop everywhere you can find Russ in the show notes. And again, man, I just really appreciate you coming on.
No, I appreciate that, man. Appreciate you having me on, man.
All right, y'all.
Yeah.
Peace.